Nearly 20 years since my father was killed by Rurik, and I have yet to taste even the faintest bit of revenge against those who have wronged me and my clan. Frothy urges patience, suggesting that our people need stability more than vengeance. Grettir suggests gathering our warriors and avenging ourselves with fire and blood. Yet it is Sig I find myself listening to most keenly, as she tells me of how we may even have the gods' favor in our endeavor. Yet the gods require sacrifices. Hello Wanderers, welcome back to our Crusader Kings 3 roleplay series following the clan of Stjarna. Now, as you will no doubt remember from the last episode, Jarl Styrkar had finally consolidated some of the land in his realm here in Biarmia along the Dvina River, and he had successfully defended it from several incursions by a Karelian army and an attempt at reclaiming the lands of the chief of Kevrola here. Luckily, we were able to successfully fend off both attacks, though that was rather in doubt for much of the war, short though that it was. However, Jarl Styrkar's cunning plan to arrange an alliance here with the High Chieftain of Chudia was successful, as he arranged a marriage between himself and Faina, the daughter of Averki, and successfully arranged that alliance. The Chudian troops joined us for the battle. We were able to fight off Karelia, we were able to fight off Kevrola, and the wars were both won in our favor. And with that, we looked to consolidate our realm somewhat. As you may remember, we moved our capital to Kolmoguri, here along the Dvina River, from where it was once here in Onega, this small settlement where our tribe had, or our clan had moved to after being exiled following our father's crossing of Rurik, then a Jarl, but now a king, a powerful king at that. So we have our lands here, and we need to do a little bit of housekeeping before we can do anything else. So, number one is we do need to take control of Kolmoguri. Obviously, we just recently conquered that from Chieftain Tolik, and so we need to consolidate our hold over this county because that is our new capital. And to that end, we will also be doing some construction here. I think we will make a gathering hall, as that will give us a good reason to call this place our capital, as this will be where the various chiefs and warriors and higher ranking members of the clan will gather to discuss our plans. We also want to take care of one other small matter, and that is switching our focus. We, as you know, we were going down the Gallant tree as we were a young man looking to show the fellow members and warriors of our tribe that we too were a warrior, and we did a very good job of that and successfully led raids, led the armies, and conquered lands for our clan. And so we did prove ourselves as a warrior, but that is not our ultimate goal. No, war is but a means to an end for Jarl Styrkar, and thus we will instead now be sending our focus in another direction, down the path of intrigue. So we do have a couple options here: skullduggery, temptation, or intimidation. Obviously, temptation, not really something we're looking at right now. Intimidation is a good possibility. The dread gain would be nice. But I think for the character, skullduggery is definitely the more fitting option, as our entire plan and our goal of this character is to get revenge upon King Rurik. And that will require a bit of scheming, a bit of planning, and so we are going to go down the schemer route here in order to attempt to cause chaos in King Rurik's court. And also to that effect, we will be sending our spy master here to, let's see, where is his capital? Oh yes, it's in the county of Novgorod. Should have been obvious. There we go. So we will be looking for secrets here in his court, and hopefully we will find some that we can use against him. Now, obviously we want to gain full and complete revenge over King Rurik. Now, what does that entail? That's a good question, and I'm not even sure Styrkar knows, but no doubt it will involve more than just Rurik himself and maybe his entire family. But first, we want to simply cause him unrest and unease and make his life essentially a living hell before we enact our true revenge. So we already started that by sending a fake letter to his wife from a supposed lover, and we will continue that by looking up secrets in his court and using them against him. So our plans to get revenge upon King Rurik are starting to begin now. Obviously, that is going to be a major concern for our character, but it is not the only concern. We do still have our own ambitions here, and we do understand that should things come down to it, we may need to go against Jarl Rurik in a much more, shall we say, direct route. And if that is the case, then we will need troops and warriors in order to fulfill those goals. So we will need to consolidate lands, and these lands here do seem ripe for the picking. We do have our ally here in Chudia, so that gives us a bit of protection, but we need to expand, and we do want to get revenge here upon Chieftain Tolik. He did act against us. He tried to invade our realm, and, well, I think that requires a little bit of revenge. So we are going to attack him and attempt to take his county. So, along with that, we are going to raise our troops. We will raise them in Kolmogori. So there we go. We'll raise all of our troops here. And that should be more than enough to take down this wayward chieftain. 891 troops? Yeah, I don't think we're going to stress over this too much at all. I think we will perhaps lead the troops ourselves. I don't really see any reason why not. So there we go. And as the battle is just about to engage, we'll slow time down so we can really see the visceral details as our two armies engage and clash here in the fields of the chiefdom of Kevrola here. Now, as you can see, the forces are no match for our great and powerful Norse warriors, and our champions are no doubt making mincemeat of the enemy here, and they're already routing and running for their lives. Now, we can check on the details of the battle here while we begin the siege of this chiefdom, and let us see if there was anything interesting. Nothing particularly interesting. Even Grettir only killed 28 men. Only 28 himself. So they may be coming back again for another taste of Norse steel, but I doubt that will do them any good at all. And if they want to get crushed twice in a row, that is their choice. I don't think we are going to stop them from doing so. So as you can see, once again, the battle turning greatly in our favor, although our champion Folki was wounded and Vese was wounded. We did capture one of their champions, although it looks like Frothy slew him there during the battle, or just after we captured him. Frothy is a berserker himself, so I suspect that he may have let his anger and berserker rage get the better of him there. So we have captured their capital here, the only settlement they have, and it is now under our control. There's no point of letting their troops come back for more. No, I think they must understand now that they have lost, that Chief Styrkar, or Jarl Styrkar, is the true power in this region, and they have no choice but to submit to our rule. So there we go. We've taken the chiefdom for ourselves, which is excellent. And we've begun to get a little bit of land here for ourselves, which is exactly what we are hoping for. So we can disband our troops now. We won't need them for a little bit, though we will be going on some raids in the very near future. I just want to let my troops build back up a little bit until we've got a full unit of warriors. All I'm saying, Jarl Styrkar, is that skis are fun even without hunting. It shouldn't be so unusual to ski for the joy of it, not just the utility, drones Frothy at dinner. I feel like I've been in this conversation my entire life. The man's obsessed. We should give it a try now, while the snow is thick and fresh. There's a steep hill not too far from here. I'll bet I can reach the bottom before you, and we'll both have a great time. How unusual, I accept. So I guess we're inventing downhill skiing here. I mean, maybe not inventing, but should be interesting. Perhaps I could use a slight edge. Should we cheat against our friend? Competitive skiing with no hunting? Sounds boring. Now, I mean, Frothy is our friend. You know, I think we could try 50-50 chance. You know what? We're not going to cheat because he's our friend. So, you know what? Let's have a race, Frothy. Let's see who's the faster racer. It's close, but we win. Well, that's pretty good, and Frothy likes us a little bit better now. And, you know, maybe we took a moment to really enjoy life, which is probably surprising. Despite our best efforts, my agents have yet to uncover any secrets at King Rurik's court. That is unfortunate. I am not too happy about that. Perhaps we can find secrets in some of these other courts. I'm guessing with the green. I don't usually do the find secrets thing. It's honestly kind of unnecessary in most playstyles of Crusader Kings 3, but we're going to try it in this one. So why don't we see 10% chance, 75% chance of learning a secret. We could learn some secrets from perhaps... I do believe this county belongs to... Oh no, where's the county of Rurik's son, Chieftain Helgi the Seer of Luki? Where's Luki? Yeah, okay, so that's where our spy master is right now. So maybe we'll be able to discover a secret from the King Rurik's son. That could be advantageous to us as well. We are also attempting to learn the language of our new wife, Chiefess Faina. And I think that's a good thing. We do want to... She is, although she's not Biarmian, she is Vepsian. But I think all the peoples kind of in this general region here, we do want to come to some level of camaraderie and cultural acceptance here. So obviously with the Biarmians, our acceptance is low because of the wars that we've been fighting so far. But we should have some advantages because they are a xenophilic culture, and that should make things a little bit easier. And Norse culture is also pretty good for that as well. Creating hybrid cultures costs much less, so I don't think it'll be too difficult to create a hybrid culture. If not in Styrkar's life, then perhaps in the life of his children. We do have some prisoners in our dungeon, and you might be wondering why I am not executing them just right off the bat to get that extra piety. And we will be doing so, but I do want to hold a great blot, which we'll be able to do so once we've converted the county of Onega here. And we will use one of those prisoners as the chief sacrifice in that great ceremony. A dark night can truly make the shadows in my stronghold's hallways come alive. The perceived risk for unsanctioned visitors rise ever higher for every unguarded corner spotted. If I alone can see this many faults, imagine what more people with a similar perspective could do. Could hire a group of discreet agents, or my perspective alone is enough. I think that seems fine. I don't think we need to spend the money right now. And let us see if our troops are up and ready for a raid. Almost. That's probably honestly quite enough there. Oh, and I should probably get rid of this particular rally point there. So we're going to raise our troops as raiders, and we will be leading them. Actually, we'll let Grettir lead them. We have more important things to do. Grettir can lead the raiders, and let us lead them here into. Well, there's not a lot of areas there. While performing her duties as my spymaster, Tada has uncovered a secret held by Chieftain Helgi of Luki. He has secretly taken Alexandra, spymaster of Chieftain, his own spymaster, as a lover. That is useful to know. I wonder how we can use that against them. Let's consider that. But first, I would like to look for a place we can raid. What about the Karelians? They do have a lot more troops than us. But he is attacking the High Chieftain here. Of which place is this? Poyanma. I'm almost certainly pronouncing a lot of these names wrong, so definitely forgive me for that. I will do my best. I know I've had some really awesome people in the comments giving me some tips on pronunciation and things like that, and I will do my best to use those as much as I can, but honestly, sometimes they are a little tricky, and you just look at the words and you kind of read them out phonetically as much as you can sometimes, just to try to make do. In Frothi's attempt at improving my reputation, my incompetent chancellor has agreed to a treaty that cancels out parts of my old treaty with High Chieftain Ture of Karelia. The way the High Chieftain sees it, he is free to declare war on me as he might wish. Oh, Frothi, you are not the best chancellor. You're a good friend and a decent skier, but perhaps not the best chancellor. But if the High Chief of Karelia wants to come knocking at the door of Clan Stjarna once more, then he is more than welcome. In fact, why don't we bring our troops over to have a little welcoming party for him instead this time? His troops are probably already over here trying to attack the High Chieftain, and so I'm hoping that we'll be able to walk in unhindered into his capital and collect a little bit of raiding loot here. Even if he comes at us, I mean, let's face it, Grettir could probably murder most of the guy's army himself. We do have that secret here. And I wonder, what could we do about blackmail? I've never really gone down an intrigue route, so we could get a strong hook on him. Well, that's not a bad idea. We could get a strong hook on his spymaster, which I like even more. So yeah, let's get the strong hook on his lover and his spymaster, because if we want to do a plot against Chieftain Helgi here, like a murder scheme, if we could use her strong hook, I think we could get her to just join in this murder scheme. That would be pretty ideal, honestly. And could we expose his son's secret? That would be kind of amusing, honestly, but I don't think it would make a lot of sense if we have this hook over her now to expose the lover's secret. Well, we could play it off that we're not exposing her as the lover here. Maybe that is essentially effective, how it works. I think we would be saying that he does have a lover, but we won't say exactly who it is, so we can still keep this hook, but we will expose that secret. Oh, okay, that does get rid of our hook. Well, you know, that is a lesson learned. I should have expected that. That's kind of what I was wondering, like how we could keep a hook over her. Oh, actually, wait. We do still have the hook. Oh, okay. Well, I am not opposed to that outcome. Oh, never mind. Well, we're learning things about intrigue here in this playthrough, so I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue. We'll have to look into other means of acting against them. But he does have the fornicator trait, which will no doubt make things a little bit harder for him, as people know that he has been sleeping with his spymaster out of wedlock. It is a well-known fact that courtiers will scheme and plot, but I may be able to use this to my advantage. If I can keep my courtiers suspicious of each other and distracted with infighting, they will not have time or resources to scheme against me. I will begin spreading rumors at once. I think we will keep some court spies. That seems ideal. And we have successfully raided his land. So, you know what, why don't we just pick up the extra 3 gold? It's not really worth it, but that's completely fine. And we will let Grettir come back before we hold the Great Blot, or Blot. Once again, forgive my pronunciation. You know, we're not even going to worry about the 3 gold. We're just going to move back and bring our troops back into our lands. It's not really worth it to waste our time here. Available perks. Excellent. Truth is relative. We can fabricate hooks. Ah, that could be useful. Let us get that perk, and we will probably start fabricating some hooks as soon as we are finished with our learning language scheme, unless we can do them both at the same time. In my work at the court of Chieftain Helgi, I have failed to find any secrets. However, the truth does not stop us. It would be easy to make sure that Jarl Polk suddenly did have secrets. $50 to get a secret on his... Let's see, his court physician. Yeah, I think having a secret on his court physician could be pretty nice. Oh, and look, he's injured. He's wounded. Okay. Interesting. Can we... Could we murder him now? Murder his eldest son? I mean, that would be moving very quickly, but he is 48 years old, and we have been consider this. We are 27 years old, and really we've been holding this revenge in for the last 16 years now. Actually 18 years. So that seems like plenty long enough. Perhaps we can start this scheme here. A murder scheme against Chieftain Helgi. And we can potentially invite an agent. Can we use the hook? We can use the hook. He is forced to join the scheme, and he is his court physician. And that will last until, 5 years. Invite to scheme. Is there anybody who would consider joining us? His Marshal, Vasily. That is an option. How much would you cost? 18? I think we can afford that. Yes, let's enact our scheme to murder Chieftain Helgi. Oh, look at that. I dare say that I suspect that King Rurik's heir will not be his heir for long, leaving just young Vefemi in the position of inheriting the kingdom of Novgorod for now. So there we go. Our troops have returned. Our raiders have brought back their money and prestige, which is good. And now let us hold a great bloat. It is high time that all Biarmia comes together to make sacrifice to the gods. These rituals not only bind the faithful together, they confirm my place as Jarl of all the land. So we will be holding this Norse ritual here, and there will be a chief sacrifice. And so let us do so. Although smaller bloats are held for many occasions through the year, once a decade the Asatruans of Biarmia come together for a grand celebration and, most importantly, a grand sacrifice. Though plentiful blood is shed for the gods, the meat of the offering goes to the faithful. Such a rich feast usually makes for an incredible party. Of course, such an affair is expensive, and certainly not all Asatruans need be invited. The people of Onega will keep the faith. We shall let everyone come. Every lord and commoner in the Jarldom is invited. I think we will simply let all the freemen of our domain come. I think that should be quite fine. We don't want to run ourselves into bankruptcy here, after all. And let us see. Oh, we shall designate a great sacrifice. So who would be the best? And you know what? I did realize that, and because it's hidden way down here at the bottom, it's easy to forget, but we want to determine our personal deity. Well, who would be the best option? A devotee of Odin, the god of war, sorcery, death, poetry. Ulir, the god of war and honor. Thor, of course, everyone knows Thor. Protection, storms, humanity, strength. And Freyr, the god of peace, harvest, and benign rule. Well, I do believe we are going to go with one that most fits our character. The gods are many and inscrutable, yet I cannot say that there are not some who hold a level of special appeal for me. Were I to dedicate myself openly to the express worship of primarily one such deity, I would doubtless draw like-minded souls to my side. Whatever the blessing my patron provides, being with similar Asatruans can only bring me health, wealth, and glory. And we will no doubt be picking Odin, the chief of the Aesir, because, let's face it, that seems to make the most sense, and we will get some piety for our dread. So that is the route we are going to go. So we will dedicate ourselves to Odin at this great bloat, and that shall be our part of our ritual that we will be holding here in Onega, back in the land where we first came. We will also be increasing our tribal authority here. I do think it makes sense. After all this time, Jarl Styrkar has proven himself much more worthy of the title of Jarl than he was before. You may remember such a big difference at the beginning of the campaign when Styrkar was barely in control of his own clan. In fact, Grettir could have easily wrested control of the clan away from Styrkar. But Styrkar is cunning, and he managed to win over the warriors. He has won over Grettir, and now rules almost undisputed in his realm. So that is an impressive feat for him. A bloat can be both a grand and a small affair. By tradition, they also include sacrifices, both human and animal. Several prisoners will be offered to the gods, perhaps even including a special choice of my own, their lives given in tribute to the gods. Though the beliefs of Asatru demand this, there are commoners in my realm who find the thought abhorrent, and if the ceremony can proceed with purely animal sacrifices, if I wish to avoid controversy. That's actually a really interesting point. We do rule over a mostly Biarmian realm, and the Biarmians do worship the Uko-Nusko gods, which is quite a bit of a different faith than our own. Sacrifice is not something they practice, and it's quite a bit different. So actually, I'm kind of considering here what we would do. A decent array of animal sacrifices should be enough. We will get less opinion with the Asatruans, but our other subjects will not lose opinion. Bring forth a beast or foal for every man. Opinion. Okay, so we could spend money to make up for that. Tradition matters. The gods will taste human blood. Only the finest of sacrifices will do, man and animal alike. So I'm actually a little bit torn on this. I think that there would be influences on both sides of this event. Perhaps our wife would be trying to convince us not to go down the route of human sacrifice, though I don't know if she would at this point be willing to speak up against that. She doesn't really, we can't even really communicate that well. But even more importantly, and we haven't seen much of her influence yet, but our Hofgodi Sig, or Hofgothi, is, I think, the one who is going to convince us that the gods need a sacrifice. And we will listen to her because she knows more of the gods than even we do. So tradition matters. We will designate a chief sacrifice and we will choose the best one. Oh dear. The existence of my plot to murder Chieftain Helgi has been discovered. That is rather unfortunate. Curses. That is not ideal. I don't know who it was who gave up our secret there. Oh, look at him. He's a leper. Well, perhaps the curses of the gods are striking down Chieftain Helgi where we could not. Let us, I think we could say perhaps that this, and consider it this way. Chieftain Helgi undoubtedly just got leprosy from contracting it the normal way, but we don't know this yet. But after holding this blot and designating a sacrifice, dedicating ourselves to Odin, I think it is no doubt that we would consider that maybe the gods were on our side. We will designate Nabtiko to be our sacrifice. He is possessed. I think that's making us think that perhaps he is, closer to the gods and thus will be a better sacrifice. So we will designate him as our chief sacrifice. And in fact, I think we will, on the instructions of Sig, I think we are also going to sacrifice the rest of our prisoners as well. Now, this is a pretty dark thing to do, but I do believe that we may see it as necessary to accomplish our goals. So we're going to sacrifice all of these prisoners, and we have our chief sacrifice here for the bloat. So like I said, I don't think we know that Chieftain Helgi has this leprosy yet, but when we hear word of it after accomplishing the bloat, I think that it would only be natural to assume that it was our actions that caused this. And now that he does know that somebody's trying to murder him, I don't think it is going to make sense to continue this plot. I think we're going to abandon that. We will let the gods and the magic and sorcery that we have summoned into being here work against King Rurik and his family. The temple is filled past bursting with happy, cheering Asatruans, all roaring as Naptiko is dragged up to the altar, the first of several prisoners and more beasts. He thrashes ferociously as the Gothar throttles his life away, the light in his eyes lasting till the first animal is slaughtered. Human corpses to the hanging tree, animals to the cooking fires. All gore is collected in a bowl, and Gothar use it to paint the walls of the temple, inside and out. Truly a spectacle worthy of the gods. And a pretty gruesome image, if I do say so myself, personally. I'm sure Styrkar is seeing this as a necessary act in order to bring the gods' favor to him and to his goals. So, to Odin, to Freyr, to Njord, and let us get the benefits of holding such a grand ceremony. And so, as the great ceremony comes to an end, Jarl Styrkar turns his eyes towards the sky and towards the gods, wondering if indeed they will come to his aid in finding his revenge against King Rurik, and perhaps they already have. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please leave a like, leave a comment of what you guys think will be happening in the next episode and where you think Jarl Styrkar's plans should be going from here. Seems like we've had a lot of success thus far. Don't forget to check out our other series, The House of Drango, and indeed keep an eye out because more episodes in both will be coming out soon. Until the next episode, I've been Stray, you have all been absolutely wonderful, and we will see you in the next one.